This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
And good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be. I'm sitting here. Not only is it Father's Day, it also is my oldest birthday today. And of course, she's out of town. The one she I don't count anymore. After this, she's 35 today. So I'm just texting her little happy birthday wishes. Happy Father's Day to you fathers out there, and of course, possibly grandfathers, as in my case as well. You know, it's funny. My dad's not your typical dad. He's never been one of those kind of fluffy kind of guys. You know, the lesson, when your kids are young and starting to lose it sometimes, and you start maybe saying words you shouldn't hear, and your spouse will say, my wife to me, watch your mouth, don't around the kids. Well, my dad never learned that lesson. So first of all, I always try to, he doesn't care about the fluffy guys. He wants the humorous one. So this one I thought was cute. He goes, Happy Father's Day. No, it says Father's Day is in June. You open up, it says, because about a month after Mother's Day, somebody went, hey, wait a minute. That was so typical. Fathers are an afterthought. I mean, let's face it, we know that. And then for the guy who was never a fix-it guy, and myself included, you can fix anything with duct tape and a strong command of curse words. That was my dad. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good day out there. I hope you had a good day. If it's you're in the East Coast, it's already noon. Maybe you are in the midst of a good brunch or had a good brunch. Others of you may be barbecuing tonight. Whatever the case may be, have a great day. You're here live with Dr. Jeff Werber, your host here for the next 30 minutes on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. We're here for you. We're here for your pets. We want to answer questions. You can anything you want to call in. There's so many easy ways to get a hold of us. Number one, the good old-fashioned way, toll-free 877-385-8882. I'll say it again, 877-385-8882. You can also just go on to Pet Life Radio, and you can do it there's a group chat. You can try to chat away. You can send me an email to drjeff@petliferadio.com. That's Dr. Jeff at petliferadio.com. Finally, the best way, join us live here on Google Hangouts. Go to petliferadio.com. You click on the Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff under shows, and you'll see a box. Just scroll down a little bit, and it's a pretty long Google Hangout link. Just click on the link, and you can join us live here. We can see you, pet on your lap. It's fun. It's easy. It's free. Free advice. I mean, come on, really. And as I mentioned, and we are growing my live DVM. You want to get a hold of us, you want to get a hold of me. You can always get a hold of me with animal questions, livedvm.com, livedvm.com. Register now because it's a great service. No longer will you have to rush to an emergency clinic at all hours of the night to get reamed by some of these emergency clinicians doing tests that you don't need, spending a fortune when you could have waited till morning. And it'll give you an opportunity through live DVM to talk to a real live veterinarian. You can do voice chat. You can do video chat, just like we're doing now. And the doctor who's taking the call, which might be me, will be able to see the problem and basically advise you what you should do. So you want to register now. That way you're registered. It doesn't cost you anything. If you don't use the service, it won't even cost you a penny. But it's a great thing to have ready in case you need it, livedvm.com. And I want to thank Pawfume as our sponsors, our show sponsors, pawfumepremium.com. Great stuff. The development is along with me as I had a great product line that we joined forces with Pawfume. And so basically we are talking about really great health and wellness products, shampoos. My ear cleaner is amazing. My skin and coat emollient spray, it's the best. Not only because Pawfume was in the business of scents, like perfume scents. Thus, I get it, Pawfume. And so we combined my formulations. They're amazing scents, natural products, really great, inexpensive, and we want you to try them. As a matter of fact, if you go into pawfumepremium.com and the discount code, put in Dr. Jeff, and you will get some really, really great deals on Pawfume. So Dr. Jeff at checkout, and the stuff is hypoallergenic. It's allergy-free. It's really, really good stuff. And again, my favorite, of course, my skin and coat emollient, my ear cleaner are fantastic, and my first aid spray. That's something, how many times have your doctor said, you know what, you have any like Neosporin or triple antibiotic ointment at home? And you go, yeah. You can rub it on, but you got to do it really thin because dogs, you don't want it too occlusive. First of all, they'll lick it off. And secondly, it's going to occlude. It doesn't let the skin breathe, but it's okay. Plus it gets mucky in the hair, whatever. I mean, look, it's safe and all, but it's not that effective because of how you have to use it. Well, first aid spray, water-based. It is basically antibacterial, soothing, smells great, makes them feel good, and it's not going to muck up the hair. It's going to get to the point. It's not going to do it's not occlusive, so it's great for the skin as well. So go on, try it out on us, of course, guaranteed. If you're not happy, you get your money back. What could go wrong? So anyway, as you know, I like to open the show. A little later on, we're going to talk about some warm weather tips. In fact, it's interesting because this was on my thing to talk about anyway. I did a segment. I was on TV5 in Las Vegas on Tuesday morning. I went in Monday night just for the really morning. I was in Vegas for all of 15 hours. So my friend Jason Feinberg, who is the morning show host, fantastic, a major cat person. He's a major cat lover. We're certainly bonded on that with our many cats. So whenever he has an opportunity to get me on, he calls me up and I'll fly in for a quickie. Interestingly, we're landing, I don't know, it must be 8:30 at night, and the pilot gets on and he says, okay, the temperature outside is not ready for this, 105 degrees, 105. And then 9 o'clock at night. And then the next morning my call time was at 6:15. So I had to get up and get to the studio early. And by 7 o'clock, it was already 95 degrees. I mean, it's crazy. So it's getting hot out there. And I know Arizona is the same. A lot of places, and there it's dry heat. God, you think about back east, think about in Florida, it's not only hot, but it's also muggy. So we're going to talk about that. So anyway, my last two American Veterinary Medical Association Smart Brief items had to do with the heat. So I guess it's a good topic. So anyway, this I thought was really interesting. A terrier with hemangiosarcoma. Hemangiosarcoma typically is pretty deadly. It's a very poor prognosis. Oftentimes, usually it hits the spleen. It starts at the spleen. It metastasizes to the liver. It can metastasize to the intestines. There can be hemangios. But heart-based tumors are often hemangiosarcomas. So it's a bad tumor to have. Anyway, this is interesting. The researchers treated the terrier, the dog, with a FDA-approved medication that is used for breast cancer in women. And the results, this dog, it's several months, and the dog is still alive and not just alive, but doing well. So they're now going to think about using this medication in real studies in the veterinary schools, because it's approved already for people. If they could show that not only is it effective, but safe for dogs as well, that might be a great new medication to treat really a serious, rather deadly condition called hemangiosarcoma. Another thing, a story that was on prosthetic devices. And now you've heard of 3D printers, right? So there are now a lot of applications and a lot of ways to make these devices. And 3D printers are, amazing. So it takes a long time to make it. The process itself. But instead of just having ink on a page, it actually looks at an object in 3 dimension and it will recreate it using some sort of, I don't know whether it's a vinyl or plastic, but it actually can make really strong devices, and they're now starting to make prosthetic devices. And so far, they've used them for dogs, horses, camels, giraffes, gazelles, goats, and actually even for a 5-ton bull elephant, 30-year-old bull elephant needed a prosthetic device. So you can just imagine how strong it is that they could support the weight of a 5-ton elephant. So that's pretty good. Lately, typically we just didn't have really great prostheses for dogs. And again, 3-legged dogs, to them is nothing. It's us. It bothers us, but the dogs get along great. But still, if there's a way to do it, make it comfortable, not irritate the skin, not have the dog go nuts, have it wearing it, I think that's great. Rhode Island, great state of Rhode Island passed a bill. This is really good. It's not the first state to do it. We talked about this several weeks ago. One of the other states did this. But so basically their aim is to strengthen the criminal penalties for repeated animal cruelty and neglect. They're also restricting pet shop sales of dogs and cats. The only way pet shops can sell dogs and cats if the dogs and cats that they're selling came from rescue groups or shelters. No more breeders. No more puppy mills. That's great. Not only that, they are not allowing any sales at all of puppies or kittens in public places like recreational parks, parking lots, flea markets, etc. So they are really cracking down on these poor quality puppy mill dogs and cats. And the best, really, I said this all the time. Look, I used to help a pet shop. I used to treat their animals. My thought was at the time that, and I still, would, because of the politics, the animals shouldn't suffer. So and I would say this to, some of these groups that were, I was treating these animals. I said, guys, you duke it out however you want to duke it out in court, do whatever you have to do. I agree. If you can close them down, that's great. But meanwhile, we have 20 puppies and kittens in here that need help. And I took an oath and I'm going to help them. But if we can do what we have to do to stop the sales, and the best way to stop these poor breeders is to have nobody buy their pets anymore. So once more states like Rhode Island jump on that bandwagon and start restricting the sales, then this is how you hit them. You hit them through the dollars. And if they can't sell them, they're going to stop breeding them. So another interesting story. It was an article from research. And again, stuff like this doesn't surprise me at all. It shouldn't surprise you at all. And that is that veterans with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, that had or have service dogs basically run lower cortisol levels. Which means they are much less stressed than veterans with PTSD that do not have service dogs, or they are waiting for their service. In other words, they've already filled out the applications. Now they're just waiting for the right match. They run higher levels. That tells you a lot. It really does. There's so much about just the effect that dogs have on our stress levels. And of course, we know that veterans with PTSD have very high stress levels. And so even the difference is so noticeable. And I think that's just great. So here are the two stories I'm going to read, and it'll take us in to our break. Actually, you know what? Why don't we break now? They have to do with heat, have to do with pavement, of course, have to do with cars. What bothers me the most about the one on cars, and I'm going to vent when we come back from our break, and that is that it's still happening. It's still happening, and it shouldn't be happening. Everybody should know, and yet they do it anyway. So don't go away. We're going to talk stats. We're going to talk about hot weather, the do's and the don'ts, how you can at least beat the heat, and it's upon us. Here we are, mid-June. It is upon us. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these short messages.
We'd like to thank our sponsor for this episode, Rover.com. Rover, the dog people. It's the largest network of 5-star pet sitters and dog walkers in North America. If you have dogs, and like me, you're working during the day and can't get home to walk your fur babies, you can just use the Rover app on your Android or iPhone and find a 5-star dog walker. Book them, favorite them, and even pay them all through the app. And I know if I'm going away for the weekend or even taking a 5-day cruise, I can use the same Rover app to book a pet sitter. By using Rover, my dog walker or pet sitter is trusted, background checked, and is backed by Rover's premium insurance and 24/7 support. And if my dog and I want to meet my pet sitter or dog walker beforehand, we can do that too with a free meet and greet. I personally like that I can get pictures of my dog, a map of her walk, and updates right on the app. It's so cool. We have a special offer for Pet Life Radio listeners too. Get $25 off your first booking by going to rover.com/Pet Life Radio. Pet Life Radio is all one word, and use the promo code Pet Life Radio. So once again, go to rover.com/Pet Life Radio. Pet Life Radio is all one word, and use promo code Pet Life Radio. 3 words for the code, and get $25 off your first booking. It's a pawsome deal.
When Helen Brown ran away to New York City 5 years ago, she had no idea that a homeless cat with a punk rock haircut and enough catitude to light up the Empire State Building would be the one to teach her the true meaning of love and a forever home. In the tradition of her internationally best-selling memoir, Cleo, Helen Brown's Bono, the amazing story of a rescue cat who inspired a community, is a heartwarming true story about a woman without an anchor, a homeless cat without much hope, and finding a forever home in the city that never sleeps. Modern Cat magazine calls Bono an uplifting tale about how everyone deserves love and a second chance. Bono by Helen Brown is on sale now everywhere.
I love cleaning the litter box, said no one ever. Luckily, there's World's Best Cat Litter, the litter that promises less mess with less litter. Only World's Best Cat Litter uses the concentrated power of corn to quickly trap odors in tight clumps. And quick clumping means you never have to chisel or scrape the box. Less cleanup with less wasted litter? That's a litter bit amazing. Save $2 on World's Best Cat Litter. Visit www.saveonworldsbest.com.
Let's Talk Pets
Let's Talk Pets
on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
And welcome back. You're here live with Dr. Jeff Werber here on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets. And before the break, we just sort of talked about the summer heat. It is upon us. Summer is officially very, very soon. It's 4 days away. So there were a couple of articles, a couple of pieces that came out in the news briefs. And one is, and it's so appropriate, watch out for the hot pavement. And here's what people don't understand, is that hot pavement can definitely burn dogs' pads. And what's interesting and sad about it is people don't know about it. They don't take necessary precautions. And one of the biggest things to know is that pavement, and especially blacktop asphalt, maintains heat, retains its heat way longer after the sun goes down. So, if the sun goes down at 8 o'clock, 8:30, whatever, and you think, oh, it's safe, we can walk now. No, not necessarily. Bend down, touch that, take your shoes off and socks off and step on it and see if it bothers you. Because if it bothers you, it bothers them. And especially earlier in the season. Why? Because they haven't had to deal with this during the winter or spring, typically. So what happens is their feet, their pads haven't calloused, haven't toughened up yet. So very important. If you're even going to exercise in the evening, which by the way is obviously once the sun is down is the way to do it. We'll talk about that in a minute. But still understand that the pavement can be hot. If it is, get some booties. There's so many great alternatives now. Pawtectors, for one, there are just a lot of different brands out there that make little booties. That's, it's highly advisable. As I said, the second thing, and this is what is amazing, and the statistic from the American Veterinary Medical Association is that hundreds, not 100, but hundreds of dogs die every year from heat stroke from being left in a car. Now, there's not a time that I'm doing my segments, whether it's here on Pet Life Radio, whether it's on Fox News, CBS. I'm coming up next week in association with the Super Zoo, which is one of the big industry trade shows. I'll be doing a CBS, actually 2 CBS and an ABC segments in Vegas. So we're going to talk about heat. And as I always say, never leave your dog in a parked car. I think we talked about this before. I know we've talked about it before because I've talked about it many a time. And that is that back years ago, I was doing a show called Home Show on ABC, and we did a time-lapse photography of putting a car that was there in the summer, but it was in the shade with the windows cracked, and we just a thermometer, no dog. And the temperature in that car got up to 114 degrees in something like 13 or 14 minutes. It's really bad. And other studies are like this. You can go online and find them. Put a dog in there and it speeds up. Why? Because the dog starts panting. And then remember, a dog's normal body temperature is 101, 100, 102 and a half. I mean, in that range, actually from 100.5 to 102.5. Now, so when you think about them exhaling, and once they start getting anxious or nervous or being in the car and people outside and they start panting even more, contributing to the heat in that car, not to mention the weather outside. So, and with windows only cracked a little bit, there's no circulation. Don't kid yourself. There's no circulation in there. So what's happening is it's getting hotter and hotter more quickly, and these dogs will get heat stroke. I have treated many a dog because of this, and it's not pretty. It really isn't. And there's that number from the AVMA estimates hundreds of dogs dying a year from overheating cars. No, that number should be zero. That number should be zero. No, by now everybody should know, don't do it. You just don't want to go there. The doctor who wrote this study actually saw someone. They stopped off and just to get in front of the city hall to get their dog license. So the dog was in the car. And of course, who walks into a city hall and gets in and out in 2 minutes? I mean, really? So, the dog didn't die, but it was certainly overheated and heat stroke. So that's how fast it can happen. You want to be really careful. And which brings me to exercise. Look, we know that when the weather's nice, you want to get out there. It's good for you. It's good for your pets. And chances are, as if it's often the case, 50+% of dogs in this country are overweight. So no, to get out there, great. And the statistic I often give, which is true. I know you can see me if you're watching. I can't see you because you're not joining me live on Google Hangouts right now. But I will tell you that, and this is just a statistic, I didn't make it up, that 75% of dogs who are overweight belong to owners who can lose a few themselves. So that kind of tells you something. So I always say that getting out there and exercising is good for both. It's good for you. It's good for your pets. But you got to be careful when to do it. Early morning, late in the evening. That's where that pavement comes in. It's still good to do once the sun is down, once it cools down a little bit. But, when you land in Las Vegas at 9 o'clock at night, 8:30 at night, it's 105 degrees. And I know it's the same in Arizona. You got to be really careful. This is where you think of good indoor things to do with your pets, because it really is hot out there. During the day, make sure if you're leaving them outside, 100% they need shade. They cannot be in the sun. You have to, if the sun, the way it comes over your backyard or wherever you put them, then there must be access to shade. If you have to build something, build it. Access to water. 100% of the time they should have water, fresh water. Very important. And a good thing you can do is, and this is a trick that I've learned, and obviously when you hike, if you're going to go for walks, don't do it in the heat of the middle of the day. I mean, come on, really? Get up at 6 a.m. and do it early. But one thing that you want to do, a good idea is, besides, of course, having water with you, taking many stops in the shade, read your dogs. Watch them. When you see them panting excessively, slowing down. I mean, they love you. They want to keep up with you. So you just don't think, well, you're doing okay, they're doing okay. No. You got to stop frequently. Another thing you do is you could take like a bandana and soak it down in water, roll it up, and stick it in the freezer overnight. So now it sort of becomes kind of hard, and because of the frozen water. And in the morning, when you're going out for your hike, wrap that around your dog's neck. Okay, tie it on their neck. That way they'll get some really nice, cool, cold, moist. As the ice is melting, it's wet. It's good for them. And don't be afraid to pour water over their heads. And as I said, stop frequently. So learn the basics. Early morning, late night exercising. Keep it easy. Shade at all times. Water at all times. Frequent stops if you're going to exercise. Don't do it in the middle of the day. And watch the pavement. Pavement gets hot. So there are ways to get out there with your pet. If you have a dog beach or a dog park where there's plenty of water and running around, they love it. You want to do it, of course, but be smart. All right, that's all we have time for today. Once again, we want to thank Parfume Premium, parfumepremium.com. Check it out. Member discount code, put in Dr. Jeff, 20% off, and try it out, 100% money back guarantee. Also want you to join up with livedvm.com. There's a good chance you'll get me, because I usually sign on to take these calls 24/7. Want to help you, want to save you money. It's fantastic. And so don't be afraid to use it. And as I said, sign on now. Lastly, follow me on Instagram. I guarantee the pictures I take almost daily are going to bring a smile to your face, because I have the cutest pets coming into my office by far. And I know it's fantastic. As I said, I was being attacked by two little puppies, rescue puppies, the other day. I said, come on, who can have a better job than I have? And I don't think anybody can. Anyway, have a great week, everybody. And we'll see you here, same bat time, same bat channel, next week here on Pet Life Radio's Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. And happy Father's Day.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.